to Inside the Salesforce Ecosystem, where we dive deep with the experts, leaders, and innovators shaping the future of Salesforce. I'm your host, Luke White, and in each episode, we explore unique journeys, challenges, and insights of those making an impact in the ecosystem. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Jean-Se Dorais, founder and CEO of 21 Knots. With over 20 years of experience in IT and a passion for helping businesses grow, Jean-Se launched 21 Knots to empower makers and creators by leveraging the power of Salesforce. He's a 7-time Salesforce Certified consultant and a firm believer that technology should exceed customer expectations. So Jean-Se, thank you very much and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Absolute pleasure. All right, then. So let's jump in. So I'll hand over to you. I've done a little introduction, but it's always nice to hear from you. So I'll hand over to you for an introduction and also tell us about the role you've got as the founder and CEO over at 21 Knots.
Thank you, Luke. Absolutely. Jean-Se Dorais. Within 21 Knots, I wear many hats, as most founders do. From strategy to hands-on consulting to solution design. My job really is to help creative and mission-driven businesses get the most out of the Salesforce by making it feel less like software and more like a trusted teammate, if you want. 21 Knots is kind of my way of blending technology with empathy, if you want. Ensuring that our clients not only implement great tools, but actually use them to scale, connect, and thrive. The name 21 Knots, just if you're curious, comes from sailing. It's a fast clip, but one that requires like skill and control. And that idea of moving quickly and confidently really guides everything that we do.
Well, excellent. Yeah, that adoption point is always the hardest point of any technology for sure. So I'm glad you've got that unique approach to it. It sounds fascinating. So what led you to start 21 Knots in 2020? And did you see like a gap in the market that you wanted to potentially fill?
Yeah, I mean, as everybody is aware, 2020 was a time of tremendous upheaval. And what I saw was that small and mid-sized businesses were getting left behind in the digital transformation wave. Larger consultancies weren't catering to them, either too expensive or too rigid. These organizations needed someone who could meet them where they were, speak their language and help them pivot quickly. I wanted to build a company that made technology accessible, practical, and even joyful. So that was the gap, really delivering enterprise-level solutions with the agility and heart that smaller businesses need.
And so that's an interesting point in terms of that focus. So you just touched on it then, but you saw that those smaller, medium-sized businesses were being left behind by the larger ones. Could you talk a little bit more about how you saw that and what led to hit that sort of niche in the market as well?
Sure. Well, with the whole work from home, during the pandemic, required technologies to connect people, whether it was through Slack or spreadsheets. We saw a lot out there, and people just in our market weren't aware of what was out there and how to pivot quickly to be able to run their business efficiently. So we saw that gap, and we went after those SMBs to be able to kind of offer them, show them, demo what could be possible, and then do some implementations of solutions like yours and combination with Salesforce, and really saw that as a problem solver.
Excellent. So you don't look old enough, of course, but you've been in the IT space for over 20 years. What initially drew you to Salesforce, and then obviously ultimately make a decision to build a business around Salesforce?
Yeah, that's a great question. What drew me to Salesforce is that it was different. It wasn't just about databases and backend plumbing. I worked with another huge enterprise-wide database company based in California. You can probably figure out which one that was. But really, Salesforce, I love their mission. I love their values. It was about people, processes, outcomes. The platform, as you know, is endlessly flexible. And I saw the potential to build deeply customized solutions without really needing a massive development team, which I didn't have at the time. So early on, I worked on a Salesforce project that really transformed the way a nonprofit engaged with donors, for instance. And that was a light bulb moment for me. I realized I could use this platform not just to manage data, but to help organizations really communicate better, work smarter, and grow. And that's why 21 Knots is really Salesforce first, and it lets us be, creative problem solvers.
No, exactly. That's yeah, and obviously it changes so much as well. And I think helping those sort of SMEs with those changes and new features are always coming everywhere. Everywhere they come. So I think that's an important part of it.
The clicks not code is a big Salesforce mantra, and we were attracted to that as well, and to how easy it was to implement solutions based on a specific business process, and really what drives us is these different, we work with many different organizations, and it's the different challenges and how we're going to solve for that. And Salesforce is such a great platform to be able to, to expand on that and develop these business processes.
Perfect. Now, you mentioned obviously the 21 Knots focuses on helping the makers and creators grow. Can you explain a little bit more about that mission and what that then means to what industries that you typically find yourselves working with?
Sure. Makers and creators is a really broad term, but to me, it means people who are building something with purpose. We work with design studios, also nonprofits, which is really how we got our start. We work with retailers and other agencies, and really teams that are often driven by a mission or a craft. And these folks are amazing at what they do, but they often lack the operational backbone that tools like Salesforce can provide. So our job is really to bring clarity and structure and scale to their work without dampening their creativity. And it's about elevating their business with tools that support their vision.
Yeah, and I think it's a really interesting sector, especially if we touch on nonprofit. We know ourselves, we work with a number of nonprofits across the globe that they sometimes need that help because, to your point, their focus is their mission, not where the data is kept or how the CRM can help them. So I think they need experts like yourselves to help them guide through that, to make those efficiency gains that they don't have time to look at necessarily, because their mission is their mission. That's what they should be focused on as well. So was there a part of it that you wanted to help these organizations sort of, get them either hit their targets in terms of their missions, number of people they're helping, etc.? Was that a big driving force between the non-profit sort of focus as well for you?
Absolutely. So what we see, not just in nonprofits, but in our typical kind of other creative clients, they have all the data, but they don't do anything with that data, right? So they can't really measure or KPI or see, how they're trending towards their goals. And again, Salesforce is really a tool that enables us to leverage all the data they're capturing, but provide kind of insights into, how their donor efforts are going, or whatnot. So it's really leveraging the data. To me is incredible, right? And you can slice and dice it, and it's really showcasing them what the picture of their organization is, leveraging that data they've accumulated over the years.
So we've touched on it a little bit there, actually. So the next question is a nice segue into that, in terms of what are some of the biggest challenges that you see that businesses are facing when they're trying to sort of connect with their customers?
Yeah. So one major challenge is fragmentation. As I said, they've got information all over the place. They have emails, they have spreadsheets, they even have like sticky notes where they keep information on. So it makes it hard to see the full picture of a customer relationship. Another issue is process inconsistencies. Without a clear flow, things fall through the cracks. And finally, I would say many teams just don't have visibility into what's working. They're doing work, but they're not getting insights, as I was saying, right? That leads to systems that are not really connected and not insightful. So with Salesforce, they can make better decisions and build stronger relationships by us being able to repatriate all these types of information. And I love to use the term common denominator, right? So just get everything on a common denominator, so then we can start measuring and KPIing and all that.
And I linked to that as well. How maybe it's your process, or how do you then enable those customers to obviously improve their customer relationship, but still scale effectively as well?
Yeah, we really focus on three pillars: simplify, customize, and automate. First, we simplify the experience that users actually enjoy being in Salesforce, which is a rarity in a lot of cases. So, and then we tailor it to the unique way each business operates. No one size fits all templates here. We finally, for the third pillar, we really automate the repetitive stuff. To free up time that matters, right? Whether it's onboarding a new client, following up on a sale, or generating a proposal, where a PDF butler comes in for us. We make sure it's easy, fast, and trackable. And as you know, Luke, Salesforce is a powerhouse, but it can also be overwhelming. So our job is really to make it work for you, and not the other way around.
Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting. Have you got I haven't got a name any customers unless you can, etc. We know sometimes that's not possible. But have you got an example where you've really seen how the working with you has really transformed their business, or improved some efficiencies to some sort of drastic level that maybe the customer was even shocked that they could get to and achieve?
Yeah, one good example is automating proposals. So leveraging the Salesforce opportunity along with products, and then being able to issue a quote or a proposal. We've configured custom fields at the product level and on the contract object. And by the click of a button, they can actually generate a super polished proposal with logos and all the information required, with the click of a button. So that was one huge project where we leveraged PDF Butler, and it turned out outstanding.
It's good. It's good. It's good to hear as well. So I want to talk a little bit about you now as well. So as I mentioned, 7-time Salesforce Certified. How's that journey been, and what advice do you have for those looking to go down that sort of certification path?
Yeah, for me, it was all about learning, and just, I love just pushing the boundaries and staying on top of technology and so on. So the certification process has been both challenging and rewarding for me. Each certification has really deepened my understanding of the platform, obviously, and expanded the kinds of problems I can solve. Advice-wise, is really to approach certification as a learning tool, not just a checkbox, right? Pick the cert that aligns with what you're working on and make it hands-on. I mean, Trailhead is great, but nothing beats like real-life scenarios. And maybe another bit of advice is don't go at it alone, right? There's study groups out there, there are mentors, and that can make a huge difference. The Salesforce ecosystem is great for that. And celebrate your wins too, right? So when you do pass a cert, go ahead and celebrate that win, because every cert, at least in my experience, is a milestone worth being proud of.
And what was your first one, out of interest? What was the first one that you got?
So the first one, obviously, the gatekeeper is the certified admin. Really, you can't do any other certs rather than that. And in growing the business, seeking partnerships via PDF Butler and the like, My second cert was more sales oriented, so sales consulting was that one. And then I love technology. I love kind of, I'm not a developer, but I could recode. I can't code. So I started into the whole platform app builder, I think is what it's called. So that's really an interesting one because of Salesforce being customizable and really kind of digging into business processes, different business processes. That really helped, and then it kind of just grew from there. Analytics is another one I did with Tableau, which is interesting. And again, that comes back to my point about you have that data, now visualize it and be able to make business decision about it.
So we've got the next one on the list. Have you started the next one? Have you started the 8th?
On my next cert?
Yeah. Have you started the next?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the next one will be. There's a lot of buzz about Agentforce, as you know. But that to me is really geared towards kind of the larger organizations. So we're trying to do more like AI-based processes for SMBs. So we're working on that. There's no cert related to that, but I don't know. We'll see what's next. No, nothing yet.
So as a Salesforce partner, how do you approach working with ISVs like ourselves, but there's obviously others out there that you work with as well, and how do you then use them obviously to bring more value to your customers as well?
Yeah, so we see ISVs as really an extension of our team. PDF Butler, for example, brings polish and efficiency to document generation, which we love. And that's often kind of the final mile in a customer journey, whether it be a proposal, as I talked about, a quote, a proposal, or a contract, or even a confirmation. So we integrate it seamlessly so that the experience feels cohesive and professional. We don't just drop the app and walk away. We design the templates, we train the users, and ensure it becomes really a natural part of their workflow. With partners such as yours, your partnership, we're able to deliver that last 10% that makes everything feel premium in the eyes of the customer.
Thank you. I think it is an ecosystem. It is a community, and I think that's one thing that Salesforce has done a good job in is building that community around it, both within SI and ISV relationships, etc. We see them being an important and integral part of it. But just quickly on the community side, how would you describe the community, and how have you seen that the Salesforce sort of ecosystem community change in your time, even since 2020 when you started 21 Knots?
Yeah, so I realized that the Salesforce community, it's like in Salesforce words, the Ohana, it's really kind of a family and an extension. So you're alone at first, you're embarking into this new enterprise software package, and it's overwhelming. I found that the community is so open to helping each other out, via local admin groups that I've joined, forums that you can query in. So the barrier to entry is quasi like non-existent, if you want. It's really approachable, and that's what I love about that whole kind of community and ecosystem.
It's great. And I think it's one thing that, speaking to a lot of people on this podcast series, that the community has been a big driver. Either they've got started because of the community, or they've managed to be successful, to some level because of the community around them as well. So I think it's always nice to hear.
Yeah, look at in your neck of the woods, Salesforce Ben, who started with a simple blog and blew up to what it is today. That's a tremendous resource available to Salesforce users.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, couldn't agree more. Now, as we know, Salesforce is an ever changing, ever adapting. Well, the world of tech is an ever changing, ever adapting, and seems to change quicker and quicker every day. What sort of looking ahead? What trends or innovations in Salesforce or digital transformation are you most excited about?
Yeah, great question. So, yeah, I'm really excited about the convergence of automation, AI, and real-time collaboration, as we've seen in the past, 3, 4 years. Tools like Slack, Flow, and now AI assistants like Agentforce are making it easier to move from insight to action, really without any lag. So I'm also seeing a shift towards composable architectures, where what I mean by that is where businesses can pick and choose best-in-class solutions and really stitch them together effortlessly. And of course, data continues to be a big one, as I keep mentioning, not just having it, but using it wisely. So I really think the future is about empowering smaller teams with big tech capabilities, which is becoming a reality today.
No, that's interesting, and obviously we touched upon earlier with the AI, especially Agentforce, typically more gauged towards the enterprise level. Are you hearing from your customers, "Hey, I've heard about this Agentforce thing. Can this work for us?" Are you starting to have those conversations, or is it yet not quite filtering down to the SMB market?
We were not seeing it quite filtering down to the SMB market yet, but we anticipate it to be. I think right now, their target, as I said, is the enterprise market. We'll see things trickling down. Obviously, everybody's interested. The buzz is everything's about AI. So yeah, we're trying to see if we can cobble some solutions, via AI without necessarily leveraging Agentforce, because it could be inaccessible to certain small clients that we have. So we're looking at all that and trying to get AI solutions going.
And how about implementing some AI stuff within 21 knots to help some processes? Have you started to? This is the trouble. Hey, you don't always get time to look at your own Salesforce, etc. As a consultant, and we're as guilty as that. Have you started to see, hey, how can we leverage it just internally from 21 knots side?
Yeah, so we're trying to surface trends in our data. So again, we're leveraging AI to figure out what our average deal close time is for specific industries, and that's become pretty accurate. Another AI-driven thing that we do is essentially the whole email and who to reach out when, based on other factors. So we are starting to dabble into it, and yeah, we'll see. Well, again, we'll see where it goes.
Um, Now, I'm going to pick your brains a little bit in here as well. But with somebody wanting to start out in the Salesforce consulting world, what do you think are the most important advice that you could give someone who was wanting to make that step, maybe onto their own, to create their own, like you've done with 21 Knots? What advice would you potentially pass on to them?
Yeah, again, if you're trying to get into the Salesforce ecosystem, go to Trailhead and start doing some modules there, and you'll realize soon the community around it and the ease of how you can essentially leverage different opportunities with the tool. So yeah, just believe in yourself, go in it. Even if you don't have like a development background, you've been a consultant. You've done software implementations, which is what my background is, just implementing, being part of a professional services organization. You will learn so much and just love the flexibility of the platform. So yeah, jump into Trailhead, do the different events that Salesforce throws. So they have these city tours that they do throughout the world. Stay on the lookout, join the email list, join your local community group, and that's what got me into it. It's the ease of use of the platform and the community around it.
Yeah, I agree. Some good, solid advice there. Now, as a founder and CEO, work-life balance sometimes isn't always easy for every CEO and every founder. So when you're not working, how do you spend your time? What hobbies or stuff do you do outside of work to try to keep that work-life balance as equal as possible?
Yeah, that's an important one. So, when I'm not at my desk, I'm usually out actually on the water in the spring, summer, fall days. I love sailing. As I've said, it's actually where the name 21 Knots came from. It's really not just a pastime for me. It's a mindset. I love navigating changing conditions, adjusting sails, knowing when to push and when to pause. And I think it applies to our business too. Um, Additionally, I'm also into hi-fi audio. I love listening to jazz. I'm into Formula One.
Okay.
Go Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
Uh, and lately, I've been diving into DIY electronics projects.
Hmm.
So I think having hobbies that stretch different parts of your brain really help you show up better in your work. Yeah, so that's what I enjoy doing.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I don't come across for some reason don't come across that many Formula One fans in the US. I know they're trying to expand it there. Obviously, we've had, depending on when this gets released, the Miami Grand Prix recently happened, etc. In there. So yeah, it's interesting. You don't, yeah, NASCAR or Indy sort of seems to take over the racing schedule in North America. But it's interesting to see that you come, yeah, Formula One's an interest as well.
Yeah, I think the Netflix series, I think it's called Drive to Survive.
Ah, yeah,
That
it got me back in. It got me
yeah,
back in. To be fair, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
I
obviously we yeah, we have a common theme of obviously Salesforce is everywhere whenever we're watching the Formula One as well. So we're
yeah,
never far away from it, hey?
I was really happy to see them putting in advertisements for F1 for sure, and met Lando Norris at Dreamforce. Actually, he was
Fantastic.
one of the
Yeah.
guests there, so that was fun.
That was good. That was good. Right, so as we start to wrap up then, so we've got some rapid fire questions. So it's one or the other. First answer that comes in. So we'll go through some of these. So let's start with admin or developer.
Admin.
Admin for sure. Yeah. It's, trailhead or hands-on experience.
Oof. Uh, I'm gonna say Trailhead.
Okay. Tricky one though. Tricky one. Definitely
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
mean, hands-on experience is amazing, but you have to start somewhere. So, if you're starting out, definitely Trailhead, get that free account. They've done an amazing job into, putting this whole training into a platform.
I agree. I agree. Lightning or classic.
Lightning.
Yeah, it's amazing. Still, there's still some customers on classic. It still
Yeah,
scares me sometimes.
we come across that, and they're like so. Change is tough, right, for everybody.
Yep.
But once we're able to demonstrate to these classic users what's possible with Lightning, from a visibility standpoint, from a configuration standpoint, from a, yeah, it's a no-brainer, Lightning.
I just get lost in classic. Whenever I have to switch or deal with something in classic, I
Dude,
just get lost. I'm like, where is everything? It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
listen, I started in the Salesforce ecosystem, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, and immediately jumped into, the beta Lightning that they had.
Yeah.
So ask me about Classic. I'm having a hard time
Yeah.
to navigate.
Indeed. I know the answer to this one, but this one should be nice and quick for you. Small business or enterprise clients?
Small business. We
Small
love
business.
it, right? The creative ones, the one that wear many hats. To us, every project is a great challenge, and they're great to work with.
Yeah, perfect. And last one, work from home or work in the office?
Oh, work from home. I'm going to say that's
Yeah.
how it started off. We're slowly transitioning, but work from home for now. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you can get a mixture of both, I think that's almost perfect. I think if
Yeah.
you can do it, I think that is. I do miss. There are times when I miss the office. Yeah, I miss the office. I'm definitely much more efficient from home, but I've been doing it for 10 years now. So before it was cool. But yeah, no, it's definitely more efficient, but you miss some of that connection sometimes. So that's why people often see me at the events that we sponsor. I'm normally the one out there traveling around. So that's why it's good to get connection with real people again, especially. So that's good.
Exactly.
Well, that brings us to the end. So thank you very much for joining us. Absolute pleasure having you on the podcast. Where can you go? Where can anyone find 21 Knots? I guess on the website or reach out to you directly?
Yeah, 21knots.com. You just go on there. We've got all of our social media links. We do, YouTube how-to projects. So anytime we find something interesting to do with the platform, we have a bunch of how-to videos on our website of all bunch of interesting things you can do with the platform. So you should check that out.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Pleasure. Lovely to have you on it. Have a good rest of the day.
Thank you very much for having me. It's truly been a pleasure to be part of this conversation.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.